everybody to another video. In this video I am going to review the Sound Artist SC65B, a coaxial style hi-fi bookshelf speaker. And what caught my eye was the fact that it had a glossy finish and it had that horn feature, and I've always wondered how the speakers sound with it, and on top of that the price point. So I pulled the trigger. Now what I'm looking for when I buy a bookshelf speaker, what I look for is that it's got to be a good size, so that way it's not too small for your living room, and of course it's got to look good. And this glossy piano looking finish, they actually call it the varnish black, and it's beautiful. And it even has some grips on the bottom there, some plastic ones. It's pretty solid. That way it doesn't move or get scratched or whatnot. So I like that about this. It just comes with the bottoms. And for me, sometimes, or a lot of times, I like to put my speakers on top of my subwoofers, and I run it really deep bass. So it might, with this thing, it's guaranteed it doesn't move. It doesn't really move anyway, because I run in really low frequency in my subs. But with these grips on the bottom, it won't move either way anyway. But it's a good feature to have. So I'm just talk about the music aspect of it first. So as far as music go, the reproduction of music, it does seem realistic, and you can turn it up really loud, and it sounds like you're pretty much there, depending on the sound source. And it does have a great sound stage presence. So right away off the bat, you can just tell that it just fills the whole room. Now, for the hi-fi guys out there, obviously, if you're just running 2 channels, just the speakers, the bass is not going to be deep enough alone, because I mean it's only $500 a pair, so you're gonna need to run a sub with it. So I would run a 2.1 channel if you're just gonna run the left and right for music. I would recommend a subwoofer, and with the subwoofer it sounds good, sounds great. And with the treble on it, even though it has a horn tweeter, surprisingly the treble on it is not too bright. So that's good. The dynamic range is also good. The clarity of it is also good. I was with the clarity, I was able to pick up sounds that I've never noticed or even heard before. For one example, in Batman Begins, in the training sequence when they're on the lake, or in the ice scene when Ra's al Ghul, which is what Liam Neeson was training Bruce Wayne, aka Christian Bale, and Ra's al Ghul knocked Bruce Wayne down and knocked his sword, and then as soon as Bruce went to grab his sword, you can hear the handle or the blade, as he grabbed it and pick it up. You can actually, I actually heard that sound like you knew exactly when he picked up the sword. So I never really noticed that before, but with these speakers, that caught my attention. So so as far as the clarity goes, um, you will hear sounds that was probably not picked up before, and I'm assuming is maybe because of the tweeter, the way it's designed. Now let's talk about the mid range. Um, this mid range, I would say it's tend to be more forward, so that's people. That might be a good thing for a lot of people. Um, I would say that's what I would say. It's more forward. Now, as far as the mid range, so for instance, if you were to crank up the volume all the like really loud, like all the well, not too loud, but like crank it up. The mid range, it won't be boxy or distorted. It will still be pleasant enough when you're listening to like music sounds. But as far as movies and gaming, it lacks that punchy bass that I like. And yes, you know, you can tweak your sub to make up for it, but the bass from the speakers, the thump from the speakers, like the bass portion for the low range, still plays, or even the mid range, it still plays an important role for a good deep tone. So that's what I've noticed with this speaker when I'm playing uh, movies and games. In other words, I would say the speaker is not a warm sounding speaker, if that's what you're looking for. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that, uh, I mean, you'll get your bass. It's just if I were to describe it, I would not say this. It's a warm speaker. So even though it's not a warm speaker, it's not necessarily a bad thing. All that being said, even though I like a more warm sounding tone, the clarity and the power of the speaker makes up for the lack of the deep bass output. So I'll give you guys my final thoughts on it. The this sound artist here, my first time owning this, I would say it has a great price for that price point. It's great, especially you got that piano glossy finish look, and you have that horn technology for a tweeter. And if you were to buy a speaker that had that horn for a tweeter, the price is gonna be more than 1,000 that I've seen. And also the beautiful design. It looks good. It's just it kind of reminds me. Well, the finish is just like my Bowers and Wilkins here. But yeah, it's a beautiful design, and also I like the fact that it has that thick rubber grip on the bottom to keep the speaker from moving. Now, it took me a few tests to get used to the mid range, but all in all, this is a well rounded speaker, especially for its price point. I think that the mid range was designed for acoustic music to sound more natural, so that when you like crank it all the way up, it doesn't get muzzled. I don't think, because I didn't hear them anything that's muzzled in the mid range. And then, but you can tell when the horn hits for certain, well, depending on what you're listening to, you can tell that this is coming from the horn. It's putting in work, but it's not too overpowering. It's just right. Yeah, it's just right. But it replicates sound almost like the so like if there was sound that didn't have much bass at all, you're not going to get any bass at all in the mid range at all. But I have heard bass in the mid range when the bass is emphasized in the sound. So it's not like it doesn't have bass. It's just that I guess it depends on what you're playing. So I'm pretty sure that might be the way it was designed, for it not to be more towards the bass in the mid range. So that's why it's not a warm sounding speaker. Now, I just want to mention that. Now the SC65B is an exceptional speaker in every department, except if you lean more towards a warmer sounding mid range, this would not be for you. But if you want a powerful sound stage presence that look beautiful and has that glossy piano looking finish with the horn feature technology type ordeal, on top of that is a coaxial style for only half a G, $500, $499. I highly recommend this to you. And if this was gonna be your first bookshelf speaker ever, yes, get this. This would be a good start for your first bookshelf speaker. And on top of that, it's a very good size. And I really, other than the fact that it's not as deep as I would like it to be, but it's not like it doesn't have any bass. It just doesn't have that punch. But other than that, it's a great sounding speaker. It replicates sound the way, however it was, it emulates the sound however it was produced. So, especially the price point, I gotta mention that again, and it looks good. So that is pretty much it for this review. I hope you got a sense of these speakers, and I got more reviews coming. I'm just gonna review like some of the speakers that I have for a while. I've had it for a while, and then I just wanted to wait on the reviews on them. So, but that's coming out later on. I figured I'd get this one out of the way since I've been playing around with this for a while. So that is it for this video. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.